Welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast, your number one opinion source for all things entertainment. Join host Marco Mazzola as he sounds off on the latest movies, TV, music, gaming, comic books, and more. Now, here's the man of the hour, Marco Mazzola.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast. I'm your host, Marco Mazzola. Today we are talking about Hawkeye, the episode 3, and with me again is Larry. Hello, Larry.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, doing fabulous.
Yeah,
awesome.
We're excited to talk about Hawkeye, episode 3.
Yes,
do a little quick review, a rundown, if you will, get into it. How many times have you seen it?
Twice.
Okay. Yep. I think I did 3. I think I did 3 watchings.
Well, I did twice, and then I dove into
do some deep dive
Easter eggs on certain what other people saw to see if I did see something.
I didn't finish that. I was watching some Easter egg stuff on it, but I didn't finish it. But I think I got it. I think I got most of it. It's a great episode. I thought it was a great episode right off the bat. I enjoyed it. I like some of the background stuff that, if you know comic book on it, there's a lot. It's kind of chock full of some comic book stuff on it. You know what I mean? Like, it's pulling from comic books. But if you've never read the comics, which I haven't actually, I had to look up some of the Easter egg stuff to know some of the stuff on it. You might have missed it. You might have not understand why, who, or where these people are.
Right. For me, it was a meh.
It was a meh. Talk to me. Why is it a meh for you? Because you like the first 2.
I like the first 2, because I like the direction they were going in. I like the character development. This one for me was just a meh. So first of all, the title of this episode is Echoes, and if you follow the comic book, this is the girl is Echo.
Right.
So
she turns out to be Echo. Yeah.
So that's how that kind of ties in.
Yes.
I liked how they gave me a little bit of the backstory about the basically the number 2 of the tracksuit mob there.
Yep.
But that's for me.
That's right, bro.
Yeah. Sorry, bro. It was just a meh episode for me. I needed the couple of Easter eggs that I didn't know about to kind of bring me a little further along.
So spoiler alert, obviously we're going to talk about the episode, so if you haven't seen it, make sure you go watch. It's on Disney Plus now. You can stream it, and then come back and listen to the rest of the podcast, because you want to make sure we don't get you anything too soon, right?
Yeah, we don't want to do that. We don't want to spoil it for people. Please.
I honestly don't care. I just do that for courtesy.
Why not?
It
was just, I don't want to say it was a filler episode, because I don't think anything in this series
I don't think it was a filler episode. I think it gave us some people that we needed to know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously, the Easter egg with Kingpin being in there,
yes,
which is fantastic.
And honestly,
I'm very excited about that, because we talked about a little bit on the last podcast about the original Netflix shows starting to interview.
And honestly, I didn't have to do any deep diving to figure that one out.
Right. That one I didn't have to. I did not. I knew that was Kingpin. Yeah. That one was obvious for most.
Yes.
Especially if you've seen all the Netflix shows. I'm really excited about D'Onofrio coming back as Kingpin. That's a mixed bag for me with D'Onofrio. I love D'Onofrio. I think he's wonderful. I love him way back. I think he's a great actor. Here's my problem I have no problem with him in his acting of Kingpin. What I have a problem with is the visualization of the Kingpin they chose to use.
Took me a while to get used to that.
Because you have the Netflix series,
yes,
which was a little bit more grounded, whether it be, budget-wise. You don't have the Kingpin who's ginormous.
Right.
I mean, when in the comics was he not?
Right. He was always ginormous.
He's massive.
And part of his power was he could absorb.
Right.
He was a mutant.
Yes.
Okay.
They get around that, but shorter.
Right.
His width is probably the same as width as his height.
Right. They get around that in the Netflix series by lining his suits being bulletproof, stab-proof, and all that. So that's kind of how they get around the idea.
They real-world it, which I don't necessarily need in a Marvel comic book show or movie.
It's a superhero movie.
Yes, you don't need to real-world this for me.
No.
There's no reason to nerf the character.
Right.
Unless it was a budgeting choice. But now, if you're going to bring in the Netflix stuff, what other choice do you have? You've already set D'Onofrio as your Kingpin, and if he's going to come back, it's him.
Yeah, it has to be.
So unless you find some other way that he's mutated into this ginormous person, and you're just CGIing this character now, going forward every time he's in, which I wouldn't mind, but it would be, the writing to get him to that point could go either way.
But do they need to, though?
Do they need to? No, absolutely not. But for me, as a person who is a comic book purist, when it comes to I want to see what I've read on page and the images, I want to see that on screen. I'm a very visually based person. I'm an artist. I draw, I paint, I do things. So when I look at a comic book, I love the stories. I love the artwork more.
Right.
Like, I'll read comics mostly for the artwork.
But they introduced Kingpin to us through the Netflix. So I think that our mind's eyes already gotten used to seeing Kingpin
but it bothers me then.
Well, then you're going to have to get over it, my friend.
I would rather have seen, like they did with Thanos, right? They didn't just make Josh Brolin a thin little meanie Thanos.
Right.
They CGI'd him,
right.
like Ruffalo.
They could have done the same thing.
And you know that it was Josh Brolin, basically. You could see because they did the face, obviously put all the Thanos stuff on it. Why can't you do D'Onofrio, CGI him?
Because I think that they want to real world it.
Yeah.
They want to real world it.
I don't want real world.
I get that.
I have the news for that. It's on at 11. I have the news for that.
You're up at 11?
I was up till 2 o'clock last night.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm up till 2 o'clock most nights.
Oh, that's right. You have the little one.
No, he's in bed by 8.
Oh.
No, he's in bed. That's when I get to do work. That's when I do work.
Ah.
Video editing, social media stuff. That's when I do a lot of my work. Is he does not there needing to be played with or anything like that. Right. He goes to bed. I can do my work. So, but honestly, I was like that even before he was born. I asked my wife, I'm a late night. She goes to bed early. She's a 9 o'clock person. I'm like, I'll see you too.
Oof.
Yeah, it's but I somehow still function when I get up at 8. It's really weird. I've always been like that. So, I'm up. I want to see that CGI. I want to see the comic book come to life, which is what always bugged me about the X-Men movies. The original ones, it's black leather biker suits. Yes. But you get to Marvel movies and it's Captain America in a Captain America. Now, but mind you, the Ultimate Avengers Captain America suit, so not the original, although they played with that briefly in the first Avenger, right?
Sure.
They had a little fun with that, but it's a Captain America suit. It's not some sort of we're just going to put him in army fatigues and this is who he is.
And this is who he is,
It happens to be a star or something or a little wing on his helmet. Yep. You know what I mean? That's Captain America. No, it's an actual Captain America suit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yep. Hawkeye didn't, obviously, and I'm okay with Hawkeye not having the H on his head, which they talk about in this episode,
which I thought was awesome.
I thought that was great. I thought that was
good.
Wonderful in this episode. They do bring that, but they've always done that. They've always find that way. Even in WandaVision, they had the Halloween costume. But they made it look like the original, right? And they explained them. So I thought that was well done. I like the fact that they threw that in there. I don't really wear flashy costumes, and my wife would divorce me if I put a little H on my head with wings, on his face. So I thought that was a great way to explain it. But they'll make him more purple, like you see some of the advertisements. He's like more the purple,
super purple
that is in the comics, which is I think that was the one thing in the original Avengers movies. Those comics were around already.
Yeah.
So why didn't they just make him in that costume? Because the costume in the newer comics.
Yep.
He doesn't have the H on his head. He doesn't wear a stupid helmet. He wears the glasses.
Right.
And a pretty decent looking purple and black costume.
Yep.
But even in the Avengers movies, they kind of muted him more black.
They just gave him
of purple, but not enough.
Barely.
It's over the years.
They gave him just like a tactical.
By Ultron, he had more purple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By Infinity War, he wasn't really in much of those because he was, you know what I mean? Civil War, he wasn't really in it. So
because he was out being Ronin.
Right. So now we get more of the Ronin. We find out that he was the one who kills basically Echo's father, who was in the tracksuit mafia, which is different in the comics. He was not, but he did work for Wilson Fisk.
Well, Wilson Fisk ran the tracksuit mafia there.
Right.
So that's what kind of made me go, when we see quote unquote uncle, there's that throwback there, and I was like, oh, cool. And in my head, I'm going, okay, now we're starting to introduce the Hell's Kitchen people.
Yes.
So I'm wondering where this is going to go.
It's taking place in New York.
Exactly.
So it's a great way to introduce them.
Which we all know that the Defenders all come out of Hell's Kitchen.
Right.
So,
and you mentioned the hallway, the house, the aunt's house is Jessica Jones's.
So I think that this is a great way of them introducing. I like the little thing that they did.
Little touches here and there.
You see the little tattoo, and I caught that right out the gate. I don't know if you caught it. The father has a little tattoo on his collarbone when he's talking to her. It's like triangles or whatever it is.
No, I don't.
Okay, go back to look at it. You'll see it. He's got his tracksuit open. You see like little tattoos. Yeah. When she gets older, her leather jacket, she has the same pattern on her jacket.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
So that was one of the things that I caught.
So they'll do the same thing when she eventually comes in as Echo. She has a mask on with the handprint. Because he had the bloody hand, which she ends up putting on her mask as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, I like that they kind of gave us a little bit of a backstory on her. gives us the idea that she's been training in the arts.
Right, but they're kind of like skirting around her actual power.
Right.
She's much like Taskmaster. She can mimic immediately.
She can mimic, yep.
But they're not really saying that she has that power, but she's just good at it.
Yep.
Right? That she can kind of, see what you're doing and then mimic your movements.
And then mimic your movement. Yeah, she's very much like Taskmaster. So, again, outside of that, I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
That's it. The action scenes.
The chase was the chase. Like, the chase was kind of, it's fun. It's a chase. The arrows, watching the different arrows was kind of cool. I don't read a lot of the Hawkeye comics, so I don't know how many trick arrows he actually uses in. That's more a Green Arrow thing.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
I think he has.
He does the green. He has the boxing glove arrow, and he does all the different arrow tips.
I think that he has just an abundance.
Yeah, I don't remember, and I could be completely wrong. I'm sure somebody will let us know that. Does Hawkeye use all these trick arrows? Like, now we're getting to, like, it's not just an explosive arrow. It's just such a grappling arrow, right? It's one that has like gas in it. Okay, it's one that has like goop in it. That they smear on the windshield and the flubber, right? Exactly. And then the Pym arrow,
awesome.
That one was great because that's a callback.
Yes, it
when
is.
Pym when Ant-Man was riding the arrow.
Yep.
Right, that was super cool.
That was a callback. I mean, and when he was telling Kate he goes, just shoot up in the air, and I was like, what do you mean shoot up in the air? And then it shows him with the Pym. I went, oh, I know what this is gonna happen. I was like, this is gonna be
giant arrow
awesome.
that's gonna crush him. How did it not go through the whole bridge? I don't know.
I don't know.
But that's fine. Okay.
I mean, that was good.
I thought that was fun. Yeah, it was a long ass car chase. It was, it was like one of those.
But it was almost too long.
You thought it was too long?
I almost thought it.
It did fill up a lot of the episode.
It filled up a whole bunch of and so between the two action scenes that we saw, which was the car chase and then the fight scene.
Yeah, the fight scene inside the old KB toy warehouse.
Which I laughed because that was one of my first jobs when I was like in high school.
My buddy Mike, who's been on the show, that was his first job where he caused a fight.
I saw that and I just laughed.
Yeah.
But again, that whole episode was that fight scene, which whatever, and the chase scene, and then with her in the dojo.
Yeah,
a little echo, and I'm like, all right, that's it. And then we see the.
But you got to introduce the character. Like, we got to introduce the character. Right, how badass she is.
So that's why I was kind of like, all right, like I get it. Like we had to bring her along somehow, and not just like this is it.
Yeah,
done.
we need a backstory on her.
We need a little bit of a backstory
on her because she can't just be in there, be awesome and a great fighter, and she's kicking ass. And where the hell she come from? Well, we have to know where she came from.
I think they gave her more of a backstory than they gave Kate Bishop.
It seems like it. It seems like it.
Like, it
gave you more of her fighting background. Certainly gave you not where she came from, but like her fighting and ability background.
Yeah.
Kate Bishop, we talked about, she's a tournament star.
Right.
She can fight really, really well in the real world.
Yeah.
It's a little strange.
So I mean, I think that's just kind of why I was just like, man. I actually found myself doing something else during this episode.
Did you? So that was one of yours. You find yourself kind of trailing off.
I found myself.
I didn't. I gotta say, on this one, I did not. I was glued to it. The first and second. By the third one, I think I trailed off just because I had seen it already twice. But by the third watching, I don't even know if I completed it. I think I did. I had to look at my Disney Plus to see if it's still in the middle of an episode. But I enjoyed that part of it. So we see them obviously escape. They pull the Avengers move where he jumps off the bridge, shoots the arrow. But now, okay, this bumped me. He shoots the arrow, and I know he's really good. I get it. But she's also holding on to the bow. Mm-hmm. How that doesn't screw up his shot. When she's tugging at him, she's holding him, and she grabs the bow when he hasn't shot the arrow yet, and it still lands perfectly.
Because it's a super strong bow.
No, it's not about the bow. I don't think she's going to break the bow. How does she not pull his arm?
Keep the balance? Because it's Cliff Martin. It's Hawkeye.
I guess he's used to people jumping off the bridge with him. He's trained for this. He's trained for somebody holding on to his bow while he's shooting.
It's Hawkeye.
I guess. That seemed a little weird to me. That seemed a little strange. He was still able to hit
both
that
of
shot,
them.
and then just like plummet. They didn't belly flop into the Potomac. That seemed a little weird to me.
I don't.
Or the East River. I don't know where they were.
Wherever they are. Again, I mean that's definitely one of the things that I could have done without, or not with. It didn't add anything to the story. Okay, they got away.
And the parts of to speak about the car chase you were talking about, it was long in the fact that they kept on being able to chase him. Like, he seemed like he took out their cars and shit like that many times.
Yeah.
Yet somehow they were still chasing him. In the same truck.
How?
In the same truck, in the same thing. Like,
blew up, flipped over.
Yeah, it's still there. Like, hey, we made it. We just brushed it off and we kept going. Like that doesn't make any that I'll be honest, did not make any sense to me.
It was also a quicker episode than the first two. I think the first two ran at like an hour.
I read about that. People are kind of concerned, like what's going to happen for the next one.
When it ended, I looked at the time and was like, wow, that's already over?
Yeah, it was a quick episode.
Because again, it was a quick episode, and a lot of the episode was the chase and the
people are
scene.
saying that like if it doesn't step up in the last couple, it'll be the shortest running series so far. Out of Winter, Falcon, Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Loki.
As far as time wise?
Yeah, the complete runtime of the entire series is going to be so far it's on track to be the shortest.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, that last episode was a little too. You're right. It was a little. I could have done a little bit more.
Just a little
more chase scene, but more other stuff.
More other stuff, and that's why again, like I don't want to call it a complete fluff scene because we got a little bit of a background.
Yeah.
We got to know a little bit more about Echo. We got to see maybe possibly Wilson Fisk in there.
Yeah,
which is awesome. Again, and then it was fight scene that was. I don't know. Like that fight scene to me was kind of lame too.
The escape scene can be tough.
Yeah,
right. Nobody's shooting them.
Nobody. Yeah, like
we shot them. But I know you want them to come back alive.
Right, and they were saying no, he wants them alive. All right, you can shoot him in the arms, knees, legs. There's so many other places that you can shoot them.
Not that I would trust any of those idiots to shoot somebody correctly in the leg. I mean, they're just gonna plug everything in themselves.
Yeah, and then the one having the issue with his girlfriend, and she's like, well, maybe if you just talk. He was like, okay, I'll call her.
Yeah.
All right, man, come on.
Good accent, by the way. That was good. Yeah, no, that was.
I felt there were things in there.
Cheese factor in this one. Them on top of the little riding horse, which what the hell those are doing in a KB shop? I don't really know.
Maybe they were the ones. I mean, it looked like that KB Toys is kind of like
it was a warehouse.
It was a warehouse,
yeah,
but maybe those were on the right. Maybe those were on the outside. Like remember back in the day, you'd leave the supermarket, whatever. Yeah, because that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
Maybe when the place was closing down, they came back in.
Yeah.
How are they still operational? I don't know.
Well,
lots of quarters.
We go through that a lot. So we just talked about Ghostbusters Afterlife, and it was the same thing with the car.
Yeah.
How is this stupid thing still operational all the time, just sitting there? I get that. It's just, it's there. We have to kind of suspend disbelief that these things are still working. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. So, yeah, no, I agree. I think there was definitely some slow parts to a very short episode.
Yeah. And that
shouldn't be a very short episode.
Right. And for me, that's why at the end of it, I was like, ugh. That's what gave me the meh.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going, okay, third episode in a 6-episode season.
It wasn't magnificent. It didn't blow me away. It was fun enough for me, but it wasn't like, oh shit. What's gonna, what I mean? Like we get to the end and you see
that was my only moment.
Is the moment? So he's the swordsman. He's called the Swordsman. He's an actual character in the Marvel Universe called the Swordsman.
Okay, so
that's who he's supposed to be.
This was part of my.
I read it online.
Okay, so I would say this is part of my deep diving. The guy who trained Hawkeye is Jack Dussain.
Yeah.
So that's who this character is.
Right.
So now it's like, oh wait a minute. So and that maybe that's why he doesn't kill Clint. It's like, oh, so this is actually the guy who trained Clint, and that's why Clint knows exactly where to go. Not exactly where to go, but he knows. I mean, you kind of like see when he just kind of like looks off to his left.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right.
So we don't know what happens now. We're gonna find out hopefully next episode.
So part of the deep diving that I got into was
because they don't see each other until this moment, right?
Right. This is the first time.
Yeah.
So part of the deep diving that I got into, it's like, okay, well, this character's name is Jack Dussain, which is actually the guy who
could be why he wants the Ronin stuff so bad
because he was Ronin.
Because he knows, yeah.
Well,
he knows that Clint was Ronin.
Well, I think that Jack Dussain was Ronin.
You mean originally?
Originally, yeah. Because the Ronin is different, so that was that's part of the deep dive. So what they're saying is it actually wasn't Clint that was killing all those bad guys, the tracksuit that we see in the flashback, but it could have been Jack Dussain, which was the original Ronin.
When he kills Echo's father.
Right. So
well, yeah, no, that absolutely tracks because that's too far in the past. For when he was Ronin in Endgame, that seems like the Ronin that was killing her father. And that whole time, she was a lot younger. How many years ago? Like
she was like in high school, I guess.
Yeah, maybe
so, I mean, I don't know how they're going to
start ahead of Endgame. Maybe that does track. Maybe
that was just part of it.
But it'd be interesting to see.
Or even if it was Clint, that wasn't that particular Ronin.
Yeah.
Because again,
but he trained him.
He trained him from. He trained him to be Hawkeye.
Maybe he was not. Maybe he wasn't the Ronin that was killing. Maybe he was a Ronin back in the past. He trained Clint to go kill these people.
Maybe, yeah. I mean,
he wants to be in charge, so he's taking out the other
factions.
Yeah, exactly. The other mob people. Yeah,
I mean,
gang. Because he doesn't seem like he has a love for the tracksuit mafia.
No, not at all.
Right. So maybe it was him who basically hired, quote unquote, Clint or trained him to go kill these people for him.
Yeah. But
or manipulated him to do it.
So
whatever. We'll find out.
Part of the whole training Clint. I'm saying that he trained Clint to be Hawkeye before Ronin.
No.
That was part of the deep dive that I got into. Is the guy who taught him how to, throw knives and shoot arrows and things like that back in the circus or back in the fair was Jack Dussain. So now Jack Dussain became Ronin. He kind of brought Clint along, and I don't know. But again,
I wonder what they'll twist it to be in this story. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah.
Because it's obviously twists.
Oh yeah.
Echo's father was not a Tracksuit Mafia in the original comics. He worked for Kingpin, but now in this series, he is part of the Tracksuit Mafia.
Right.
So who knows what of the swordsman's background they will
bring out,
twist just to make it fit this particular particular universe.
Yeah.
Right. Like is this the same as the comic book universe? Or that's a different universe from what I understand.
They have to make it.
And I think according to Marvel, I think the comic book universe is a different universe. Things in this universe happens similar, but that's why there's difference. It's easy writing to say it's similar. It's based off of this.
It's based off of,
but it's a different universe
so we
where
can write
that one what if question they took it this way.
Yeah,
and that's what ends up trailing out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
easy writing. And I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with it too because you have to. At some point, you have to. It can't be page for page.
Right.
What the comic books were. First of all, there's 90 years of material. Right. Like there's too much material.
Too much
to cover it all, and so many different story arcs, and then so many different they reboot.
Yeah.
Look how many times DC's rebooted after Crisis, and then they did it again with New 52, and now it's done again. It's Aftermath.
Well, it's because DC sucks, and they're just trying to get new fans.
We're down to DC. No, it's true, but Marvel's done it to a certain degree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? After Secret Wars and things like that, they do that, and they reboot a little bit. But they don't reboot as hardcore. Like, when they kind of do this whole thing, and then the dust settles.
Yeah.
Right, but they don't kind of like, we're back from a different multiverse, and now this is what we're happening now.
Right.
Where they don't ignore it. It's almost kind of like shit happened. They know it happened.
Yeah.
And they're just moving past it.
I mean, Civil War happened.
But they acknowledge it, and they know that they have to move on from it.
Yep.
Yeah. Right? Where DC kind of goes like when they changed from New 52 or before New 52 to New 52, like none of that shit happened.
Happens.
A completely different thing happened.
It's like, we're going to forget all these years.
After that, it's just they erase New 52. Like it happened, but it's not anything to do with what's happening now. Mm-hmm. And the people that are on there, when you look at Superman now or Batman now, none of that New 52 shit happened.
Right.
To those particular people.
Right.
They're not moving on from anything.
Odd.
It's just
weird.
Blip. We're back again.
We're back.
You know what I mean? I got my original.
That's DC.
I got a similar original costume, not quite, but similar. You know what I mean? Whereas Marvel seems to just kind of move through it, and so that happened.
They reference it, but they
happened. We're just moved on.
Yep.
We've learned to live with it.
Yeah.
Type of thing. This is a little different way to go about it.
Yeah.
So to have all that history and to bring it to movies, you have to make changes.
Yeah.
There has to be some differences, otherwise it's just too much.
It's too much.
You can't put it all in there. Even in the movie, no matter what, certain things like we talked about last time, certain characters are very hard to animate on screen where anything can be done on a page.
Yeah.
You can draw anything.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if Galactus takes up the whole page and Silver Surfer is minute. He
it's on a page.
On his shoulder and you can barely see him.
You can't do that on film. You can't do that.
You can't do that to actors on film. They want to see their face and all that kind of like we talked about last time. So
keep
it has
your mask on.
Yeah, keep your damn mask on. I don't give a shit your face looks like. Or half a mask that's kind of ripped off. Good Lord. So I think they have to make those kind of changes, and it makes sense to me. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm okay with it being a different universe.
I've grown to appreciate it or accept it rather.
Yeah.
It's
part of who you are. You've learned to live with it.
Yeah, I have. That dates back to the first time I saw the X-Men movie. Yeah. I was all sorts of upset about the characters that they chose to be the quote-unquote original X-Men. Right. I'm like, you have it all wrong.
That was a completely different universe.
Yeah. So that one bothered the hell out of me. And I remember watching that with like a friend who had no real idea. Like,
so they loved it.
Oh, yeah, they're like, that's awesome. I'm like, no, Rogue has nothing to do with it. Wolverine isn't introduced for another, 30 years.
That. Like, they have to know that going into these things, whether it's Sony or Marvel, Disney, they have to know, listen, we just have to kind of, put it out there.
Yeah.
And people are going to love it, and some people are going to lose their freaking minds because it's not exactly what they read.
Well, that's why if you go to the original trilogy, the original Fox X-Men trilogy, by the time they hit the third one, all the original X-Men were introduced.
Sure.
And I was like, thank God. You know, they brought Beast, they brought Angel, they made Angel Archangel. I was like, okay, cool. I like how you guys did that. You know, I mean, Bobby was still a teenager, but like in the world of the adults, but whatever. But I was glad that they kind of fixed their own things. Now, granted, the third one sucked, but I'm okay with them. At that point, they had brought all the original X-Men.
The original third?
Yeah, the original trilogy. Yeah.
Scott Bite it, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, again, I'm okay with them.
But then how do you feel like after Days of Future Past, they're all back again? Like it kind of retcons what happens, and Jean's back, Scott's back briefly. You know
so yeah, and when they came off with the school days, I'm like, wait, what? But again, at that point, I had already accepted the fact that this is comics, this is different worlds, and I understand for entertainment value, they need to do this. Yeah. So
I'll never accept the fact that they weren't in the original costumes. I will never.
I know, and you're one of them, and sure,
it was not necessary.
I mean, even so, Days of Future Past, you have Scott Summers as Cyclops, sure. Then you have Havoc in the originals, and I'm like, but which is Scott Summers' brother, but he's not an original X-Men, and neither is Banshee, which they have. Yeah. So again, they did that again to me, and I went, you know what? I accepted on the first.
You did it right. You didn't. You screwed it up again.
You've got the story between Magneto and Professor X, and I'm like, yeah, but how are you going to choose the Brotherhood of Mutants? They're not even around.
Oh yeah. They've played with that storyline all over the place. So
yeah. So anyway, sorry.
It's okay. No,
we digress.
Right. That's all right. You know how we like do it. You know how we do it.
Yes.
So episode 4 coming out on Wednesday.
Did you see the previews?
I have not. Talk to me. I don't think I watched them.
So I did watch the quick preview, and one of the things that I saw, I actually saw it, and I went, well, wait a minute.
Which is weird for me because I do.
Right. I usually don't. Which is odd. I think it just came up like, oh, watch this. I was like, all right, I guess I'll watch it. Yeah. There's a part in the preview, and they show this Black Widow-esque character.
Okay.
And again, I did part of the deep diving.
Yeah, it's her sister. It's her sister. It's Elena. She's a character.
That's what we're thinking.
Yeah, she's got like the night vision goggles. Yeah. She's like 6 of them on her freaking head.
Yep.
Yes, I did see that.
So
I read about it. Yeah.
And it makes perfect sense.
Sent her after him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they tie that in. So now I'm kind of looking forward to the 4th episode, because again, we're going to
the only part is like it took her a long time to catch up to him. If this is supposed to be in the future, well past Endgame, that stuff with Black Widow happens right before. Is it right before Civil War? Isn't it where she had the blonde hair? That all took place. Remember, because Tasha goes off to go deal with what's going on. I think in Endgame, where she had the blonde hair.
But this is after.
She sends her later after she's dead.
After she's dead, she's at
how long?
I mean, she's at the grave.
But Valentina's kind of like checking in on everybody really quickly, like the Falcon Winter Soldier stuff. When did that take place? That was obviously after Endgame. Obviously,
that was so. Yeah, all the Valentina stuff is. So this is all after Endgame.
So is it all around the same time?
I think this is all the same time because she's grabbing everybody, and this is all after Endgame.
Yeah. So that Elena stuff was her visiting Tasha's grave.
Yeah.
Way past. Not like right after it happened.
Yeah. No.
Right?
It's got to be
Endgame. Obviously, she's dead.
Yep.
How far after Endgame she's doing that? Right.
Yeah.
So it must have been a couple of years after Endgame.
Couple years. It's got to be.
I think it was because it looked like the growth around the grave was pretty good.
It was pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so it didn't look fresh.
No. And again, I don't want to put too much of a time crunch or a timeline. Like it, Endgame happened. Yeah. She died. This is after. The timing between Endgame and
relatively close to what's
happening
now.
If it's the week after, a year after, 5 years after, whatever, I think it's more. I'm more curious about to see how you were saying it last time was how does it tie in with the multiverse?
Yeah. If it does at all.
Right. If it does at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's going to be part of how. I mean, if they're introducing Kingpin, does that mean that Daredevil's coming into this series, or do they open the door for this series? And if that's the case, there was rumors about Daredevil being Peter Parker's lawyer,
right.
So I'm waiting.
But
I don't trust any of them.
I don't blame
now.
them anyway. They digitally take them out of the previews.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Just because they don't want to, because Marvel doesn't want to.
So I mean, again, with as
Marvel
far as
doesn't want to tell us something we already know.
Yeah, well, Yeah,
that made no sense to me.
I mean, so as far as timeline, I don't want to put too much time and thought of exactly when. If it's something
right,
all
because
after
what happens to
Endgame,
my brain
right.
is I have to figure it out. It's kind of like when you're talking about Ghostbusters. How did we not lose the door on the bridge?
Right.
Like you gotta figure. Like my brain has to figure that out. Otherwise, it's like holding in a sneeze.
Yeah.
Like
It doesn't work.
Right. Is my point.
It needs to
My
come out
brother used to do it
somehow.
all the time. But it's like I got it. My brain starts to tweak. I'm like, when is this happening? What's going on? Where is she? When is she doing this? I have to figure that kind of stuff out. It drives me crazy if I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with it happened after this. All right. I mean, you can't lie to me and tell me it happened 20 years later or it happened the next. I mean, there has to be a reasonable time.
Yeah.
But like,
I
don't think anything happened like a week after because all these things had to happen, right? Like you got the Winter Soldier and Falcon, that was all going down, and this.
Yeah, it could easily be all happening at the same time. I mean, obviously, Falcon Winter Soldier wasn't centered around Christmas.
Right. Was it the summer before Christmas?
Right. Could have been.
Maybe.
It could have been.
Because again, she's
So
coming through.
that's interesting. So is this a Christmas show?
Yes.
You think so? So that school of thought. We've talked about this before, and I'm kind of wavering on my stance, especially even with Die Hard. Even though Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
No. You can't waver on that. That's a Christmas movie.
Is it a Christmas movie?
Yeah.
You said it takes place at Christmas.
Yep.
But here's something I
Well,
thought about and read.
I guess what the rules are is what makes a Christmas movie a Christmas movie?
It's about Christmas. It's about Christmas.
As if it's about Christmas.
It's not about Christmas. It just happens to take place at Christmas. Right? Elf is about Christmas. Christmas Story is about Christmas. Is A Wonderful Life a Christmas movie?
It's an alcoholic.
Yeah, it's an alcoholics movie. But, Miracle on 34th Street is about Christmas.
It's about Christmas. So I guess it depends on
right?
what
All
makes...
the Lifetime movies are about Christmas.
Right.
You know
And I guess it depends on what your rules are.
Right.
If
it just happen to take place around Christmas.
If it happened to take place at Christmas and that's what you consider a quote-unquote Christmas movie,
but it has nothing to do with Christmas or saving Christmas or being there because of Christmas. He's there because it's Christmas time. That's why they're having the party.
Okay, all right.
Hawkeye's trying to get home for Christmas.
But see, I think Hawkeye's more of a Christmas show than
if you go by
Die
that
Hard.
rule, then that would make it more of a Christmas show than Die Hard.
Because he talks about Christmas.
Right, he's getting home for Christmas.
But then again, so is John McClane, though.
But Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is about Thanksgiving, right? Because it's not a Christmas.
So yeah, it's not Christmas,
They're trying to get home for Thanksgiving.
So I guess it all depends on what your rules are for what makes a Christmas movie a Christmas movie.
See, shakes it up a little bit.
Yeah.
It shakes it up, right? I could be completely wrong. I know I want to say it's the writer or the director. One of the original
said that it wasn't.
It's not a Christmas movie.
Yeah. I mean, again,
and everybody collectively on the internet lost their mind, as only the internet can do.
Yeah. Well, that's what the internet's for.
That is exactly what the internet is for.
It's to lose your mind over somebody else's opinion.
So you can stand on your chair in your mother's basement, screaming at your computer, typing in all caps. That's what it's
because that's how they know that you're yelling. Because it's in all caps.
Yelling. That's how I know you're on your chair, standing, losing your mind. There's all caps coming across my screen.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, cool. So last thoughts on the new Hawkeye. We didn't really kind of go through. We kind of talked about it and what happened. But like you said, as much as I want to do a recap, there isn't a lot to recap.
And that's how I was feeling.
You see the escape scene.
Done.
You see the car chase. And they go to the apartment and you see swordsman. And done.
Yeah, she tries to go online and obviously, she gets...
they block her out. Yeah,
they block her out, so she can't get in. She's like, "Oh, that's weird." On that, you see, you see the what's his name, Kazi's name on it, which is Echo's brother, friend, whatever.
Yes.
You see his name on the client list.
Yep.
That was part of the thing that I dove a little bit deep, and I caught that little Easter egg too. But again, on this particular episode.
Are there any other Easter eggs other than the Wilson Fisk? And
the Wilson Fisk, the Kazi name. I guess somebody had
her tattoo.
So I caught the tattoo on that she replicated on her leather jacket, basically just showing that the line between her and her father.
Right, which is going to further trail into where she makes her full costume.
Right. I guess somebody had some. If you look at
Which is stupid because she's going to have a mask on. They're just going to keep taking it off.
I know. If you look at the cast, there is...
For this episode?
For this particular episode, there's a character that plays Little Kazi. So that tells us that Echo and Kazi, as adults, knew each other as little kids. So they've been coming up together. So it's like, the whole dynamic between her and that.
Which is why he can sign with her. Right.
So
I do like the fact that he's like, do you think these idiots really learned how to sign
within the last day? I mean, that was pretty funny.
That was fun.
But yeah, I mean, there was, there's the recap. There's a chase scene. There was a fight, escape scene, a sword to the neck.
So we're hoping for a little bit more in episode 4. Not just more content, but more time.
It's got to be more time. I don't know if they have a release time on that yet.
I don't see. They don't even have a name for it yet. I don't think they have a runtime.
Oh yeah, they don't have a runtime on that.
Somebody I think had it though. They're hoping that it's because if they don't,
they have to, because now you have to hit the top of that mountain. You have to hit that climax.
Yep.
Again, it's a 6-episode series.
Yep.
You need to hit the top on episode 4, and then ride that to the end.
All right. So spoiler. And this
Here?
And so you said episode 4. Florence Pugh, wherever is playing Yelena. She's credited in episode 4.
Okay, so we're gonna see
Yelena
her.
Belova's in episode 4, so she should be coming in.
Beautiful.
What's her character name? I know it's Lena, but what's her superhero? Like, what's her villain name? I forget. I forget.
Black Widow 2,
No.
version 2.0.
2.0. No, she has a name. I forget what the hell it is. We'll know by next time. I'll have it for next time. I'll definitely have it for next time. She's another C-list, D-list character that runs around the Marvel universe, who's been around for a long time, is pretty badass. You know what I mean? She's done some stuff. She has some backstory, some history. So should be interesting to see where they go with her and how much they bring her to their actual comic book character before the end of the show. Do we wait? Do we have to does it pay off later?
It can't pay off later. It's got to pay. It's got to be something here. This has to be a very in-depth. I feel that for episode 4. You can't look away. Yeah. I feel that they have to give us information.
Yeah, there's not much left. There's only 3 left.
Yeah, it's like, we need to get to the
hit
end.
The ground running here, otherwise what's going to happen? Yeah.
So,
and I'm looking forward to, jumping ahead now, I'm looking forward to the end of the series to see what Valentina does and how she pops in to continue bringing the Dark Avengers together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Elena, we're going to see Elena, but we've already seen her talk to her.
Yep.
Does she bring an Echo? Is Echo part of it? Does she grab Echo as part of the team?
I don't know. Maybe.
Right? Who else is she going to bring in? So, basically she's going through all these series, roughly, and collecting.
And collecting people.
Right?
So.
Yeah. She's a version of the Collector. She's collecting these people to be part of the Dark Avengers. So who from this series is she going to take in? Did she do it in WandaVision?
No, she wasn't there. I'm trying to think. No. I mean, unless we have White Vision come around, but.
No, because.
But then again, you Echo. If we're gonna follow the comic book lineup, Echo's not part of it. She's not part of the Dark Avengers. So
but she could be because of the character we're using.
Maybe
because of the character we have.
I mean, it's the MCU. They can do whatever the hell they want.
Sure. Could be the swordsman. You don't know.
Yeah,
could be anybody.
He could. Yeah. Because technically in the Dark Avengers, Bullseye is the Hawkeye variant of it, right? So it's like, I don't know. Which
have we seen Bullseye yet?
No,
he wasn't in the original Netflix series, right? They didn't do a Bullseye. Did they? I mean, really, who can do better than
Colin Farrell?
Yeah, who's gonna do better than Colin Farrell's Bullseye? Good Lord, that was bad.
That was just a bad Daredevil movie altogether. All that Daredevil sucked. No, they had. Was it the end of the Netflix series? Was the guy that was a pitcher?
Yeah, right.
That was in the Netflix series, right?
They were gonna bring him in,
and that's actually how they finished the whole thing was with him in the hospital. So
now it's been a while.
I know. That's why I had. That's why there was that pause there.
Yeah. So
they introduced it a little bit.
Yeah.
At the end of the Netflix series, but then Netflix just said bye bye.
So the question is, do they have to bring him in, or they just get somebody new? Because who gives a shit? He was in there 2 seconds.
He was. Yeah.
Well, you bring anybody, it doesn't matter.
Well, we have Wilson Fisk being the antagonist, right? So. Yeah. And
behind the scenes, as he does.
Right, and he's an antagonist for a lot of people, I feel.
Yeah.
So you could.
Well, yeah, Wilson Fisk as a villain, he's a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah, he's a villain for
Fantastic
everybody.
Four villain. Yeah, like Dr. Doom, he crosses a lot of
exactly.
titles.
So I mean, a lot of these guys, you don't. we all know that
Green Goblin's a Spider-Man villain. He doesn't really have much to do with, let's say, the Fantastic Four.
Right.
He stays Spider-Man, but a lot of these guys cross.
Right. So with Bullseye, we know that Bullseye is the antagonist for Daredevil, but do you need to bring him along if you're already bringing Wilson Fisk in? I think Wilson Fisk being a bad guy for a lot of different people.
Yeah.
You have him play with all these other different people.
It makes sense. He's the kingpin, technically. I mean, he's the guy who runs so much, right? Yep. He can cross anywhere. Yeah. But Bullseye can very much stay a Daredevil.
Yep. Yeah, and you don't really need to bring that character in unless they want to do more with the Daredevil.
They're still not going to bring it in a 6-episode arc. I think that would be too much.
No, it'd be way too much.
You'd do another story. You'd have to.
But even if you just tease Daredevil.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, because then you can be like, the
hopes and dreams.
Oh my god,
and dreams.
Daredevil. I really like Daredevil. I always liked him a lot.
Yeah.
So. All right.
I know we're tangenting, but the costume on the original Daredevil, like not the original, but like by the end of the series, I don't want the Ben Affleck costume.
No.
But that was horrible because it was just a big leather suit.
Yeah.
But what did you think of the Daredevil costume?
I liked it.
Did you?
Oh yeah. I honestly liked I like the grittiness of it. That whole series I liked so much.
Yeah, the grittiness of the series, and of course the fight scenes are.
Yeah, so the fight scenes are good. I like
the hallway fight scene. Of course, that's the one everybody talks about.
It's so good, but I like how he starts to, he goes from just the blindfold rap and and it turns into the suit. I liked the suit. Yeah. I liked the actual Daredevil suit.
I had some issues with it even at the end, but I thought it was like it was like I said, it was better than the Affleck version. But again, it's even for some of the offshoots or Ultimate series, it was a little too far off comic book for me. It was a little too much. Like they had to redesign to make it real. Okay, this is a real fabric we have. Tactical, stops knives and things like that.
Well, they had to, because again, we go to the Kingpin. He went to the same guy that created his suits, which gave him the reason why he can absorb bullets and knives. So,
Right. That bothers me. I don't need that.
I know.
I don't need that. It's a comic book movie. I know. So don't give me realistic, real-world excuses as to why this guy who's supposed to be enormous, when you have a Hulk, when you have a Thor with a magic hammer.
Netflix didn't have that money at that point.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. But,
But again,
But you still could do a costume that, he's essentially a ninja. Untouchable, right? He's like Batman never needed, like in the Arkham series, he didn't need battle armor like he somehow needs now. Right? Like Batman has like his suit is like, even in the new stuff where it looks still like a jumpsuit, it's very much like a very movable Kevlar.
It's Kevlar.
But it never really was explained in the comics. It was, until recently, it was never that. It was just a jumpsuit.
Yeah,
with his underwear on the underwear on the outside.
Underwear on the outside.
You know what I mean? They got rid of that, obviously, which I'm okay with. I get it.
No, I was okay with that.
Like now he's like armored up. Man. In the movies, like it's unnecessary.
Well, he's got to fight like really big bad people that have like kryptonite and like whatever.
Yeah, but he's Batman. Like he's super trained. Like the whole trope of the fact is he's a superhero. He's so trained he doesn't get hit.
What though?
Or even if you do, it doesn't. He can kind of shake it off.
But now we have. I think that was fine in 1989. Yeah. Right. Now it's 2020.
No, but even 99 he had armor on.
Well, right, but
remember he had the body armor on, even in the 89 series.
Well, I think though.
That's what makes the Adam West the most pure.
Yeah, right.
He's just wearing a jumpsuit. He's just wearing pajamas.
But he had his utility belt that had everything.
That the pockets changed sizes depending on what he was pulling out of it. Yeah, he literally had the bat shield apparently up his ass.
Yeah, he had that behind him. He just pulls it out,
unfold completely. Phone and I freaking love that.
But I think what it is we've watched all these other movies and shows, stuff like that, where we have like really super powered people that our mind is like, all right, not for nothing, Batman, you could be like this trained martial artist, ninja, whatever you want. That guy's got a rocket launch and you can't stop it. Like how you can't get away with it.
No, you don't stop it, but you can avoid it. Remember, Batman was one of the only ones to ever avoid Darkseid's Omega beams.
Yeah. Let me tell you something.
By just maneuvering out of the way.
Yeah. You know what doesn't fly?
It's a comic book.
No, exactly. You know what doesn't fly is maneuvering away from cosmic beams coming at your head.
Because he's Batman.
Work. No, dude, come on.
He's so ridiculously trained.
Super trained.
Like Daredevil, because of his sonic basic vision.
But that gets explained because of the toxic.
No, I get it. But he has that.
Right.
So he's not going to get hit. So why does he need body armor?
Because if you have 16 people coming at you at once.
But he can see better than them.
Listen.
He can see better than them, even though he's blind.
Because it looked cool.
Because it looked cool.
It looked cool.
That's lazy. It looks cool.
No, because he still gets hit. Because if you watch the series, he still does get punched and stabbed and sliced. Because he's got to go get fixed up by what's her name?
Night Angel. Night. Rosario Dawson. She's like the queen of like everything. Now
she's like, I'll just jump in this.
Now she's Ahsoka.
Yes, which we need to get into that.
We will. We got Book of Boba Fett coming up.
Yes, we do.
So we got Book of Boba Fett coming up. We'll definitely get into the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
We got Mandalorian will come out. Ahsoka's going to come out. A few of the other things are kind of like the Ranger one. I think has been put on hold. There's something else. The Rogue, like the Rogue series, so the Rogue One series essentially. What that one's called, Squadron.
Yeah,
I think that was like put on hold or something like that from Patty Jenkins or somebody was going to basically be doing that one. So I don't know if it was after Wonder Woman that they decided to put a hold on that. God. Maybe they need to deal with that in a different way. But yeah, that's kind of so we do have some more Star Wars. I saw the previews for the Kenobi. Have you seen the preview for Kenobi? That looks real good.
That looks good.
That looks real good. I'm excited to see the Kenobi series.
And again, I'm glad that it's Ewan McGregor coming back.
Bringing it back.
I like how they use an older, the same characters.
I like the fact that these people want to do it. They and that to me that speaks to not just the Brinks truck that they're backing up to their house, but the fact that they have a passion and a love for these characters that they brought to life for us.
And they understand that.
3 movies that he did of this character that he brought to life, and he loved doing it. And even though he's a little older now, he still wants to get in there. Well, because the character's older. He's going to bring it back. He's going to get closer to A New Hope.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Right.
And that's okay, but he's still going to be going in there doing stuff. Am I excited they brought Hayden Christensen back? Yeah.
I am. Yeah. And no, I guess excited is the wrong word to use. I like
the nostalgia of it because they brought him in.
Again.
I thought he was a horrible,
he was a wine bag.
Yeah, he was a wine bag.
But I mean,
Vader, again, did you ever want to see Vader, even before he became Vader, as a whiny bag? He never seemed like a wine bag in the original movies.
I think the little boy in part 1 had more balls than Hayden Christensen.
Yes, he did.
Seriously, like that little kid was like, I'll go jump in this pod and I'll race and I might die, but I'm gonna race like a million miles an hour.
Come in like, my mother, and then why aren't you loving me? And it was interminable.
It was emo.
Oh, it was horrible. I wanted to throw him completely into the lava.
Yeah,
just head first.
But if I hope
the whole "I hate you" thing when he's screaming like "I hate you," like oh my god,
you killed me.
There's just so many like you could see a little kid doing that, like a 6-year-old yelling at their mother, like, "I hate you," because because you won't let him have the toy.
Yeah,
it was the same type of bitchy scream.
I'm glad that he's coming back because you have to have
continuity wise. I like that.
And so now we're gonna talk about your thing. They only need to bring him if they're gonna take the mask off. If they don't take the mask off, you don't need him.
Well, because the reality is,
he's talking through a voice box.
Is he gonna be the person in the suit? He's not big enough.
He's not big enough to be in the suit.
He wasn't the guy in the suit at the end of Revenge of the Sith. It wasn't him.
No, I mean, if
CGI, if I'm not mistaken.
If anything, they need him for flashbacks.
That's it. That's what I'm thinking. It's just flashback scenes.
But what flashback scenes are they going to do that we haven't seen already?
There's a lot. There's a lot of Vader stuff. Remember after New Hope. Right, or I'm sorry, after Revenge of the Sith, which is where this series takes place, up until Rogue One, we don't know what he does.
He becomes Vader.
Yeah, but what does he do? But Vader has a long history. His Vader's castle, everything that he did, how he helps continues to help annihilate all the Jedi.
But you don't need Hayden Christensen is what I'm saying.
No, yeah, absolutely.
You don't need him for anything.
We can do a lot of Vader, but we don't need Hayden Christensen.
Right, we don't need. I'm sorry.
Because
we don't need Anakin Skywalker.
Right. Because we don't have any, how many flashbacks are we going to do prior to Revenge of the Sith?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Up until him turning into Vader, until we see him putting the mask on. Is there some stuff
they can do? Yeah, sure. The Clone Wars was longer than we saw. We kind of picked up towards the end of the Clone Wars.
But if you watch Star Wars, you watch.
Like, oh shit, this is going to start the Clone Wars to Revenge of the Sith, and like, oh shit, the Clone Wars have been going on for a long period of time.
Yeah, but they have
series.
But they have the animated series for that though.
It's true.
They have the animated series, which I watched, which I actually enjoyed.
Oh, it was wonderful.
But they also had an animated Clone Wars movie.
Does she show up? Do you see any of that? Do we get to see anything Clone Wars series that we didn't get to see with him and Ahsoka?
No, I think they covered a lot because at the end of Clone Wars, which I love that they tie into the Mandalorian.
Hawkeye episode, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's how he did that, huh?
That's how he's tangent.
Oh,
an hour later, yeah.
Oh, jeez. Well, okay. At the end of the series, you see Ahsoka leave, and she's like, I'm no longer a Jedi. And then you see live Ahsoka going, yeah, I'm not with them anymore. I just know how to do that stuff.
Right.
So I like how they connect one. So now we know that animated series is absolutely canon, and it absolutely ties to Mandalorian.
Yes.
You know, so now we see the time, and that actually gives us a timeline of when everything's happening.
Right.
So with the Obi-Wan series, I could give a rat's ass about Anakin. We saw everything that we need to see about Anakin.
Yep.
Anakin turns to Vader. I don't care about Hayden Christensen. I just want Vader now. Give me Vader's castle. Give me all Vader.
Dude, I want all the Vader stuff.
You don't need
I want
Hayden
Vader
Christensen to be there.
He's a badass.
Right. But you don't need Hayden Christensen to be there to be Vader, because
I don't know how many times you're gonna sit him in the tank, pulling his head off, pulling his mask off.
Hopefully none.
Yeah, we've seen it.
Hopefully none. We James Earl Jones is the voice of Vader. It wasn't James Earl Jones and when they took his helmet off.
Right.
So why do we need?
Like 4 different people.
I know, right? Yeah, this one guy standing here, another one that was sitting, then you had the guy that they took the mask off. But that's what I'm saying.
Really pissed off the original guy. I don't know if you ever saw that behind the scenes stuff.
I saw something. I know. I heard.
The original guy thought he was gonna do it. He thought he was going to be the face.
Right.
Because he had done it the whole time, and he was the guy in the suit, and they totally backstabbed him. He was like shooting a scene, and they were doing it somewhere else with the other guy taking off the mask with Luke. And he's like, what the hell's going on over there? Like, oh, we're doing the other thing. What are you talking about? And they filmed the whole thing sort of behind his back.
Oh, these bastards.
Oh, he was pissed.
That's Hollywood.
He was pissed. Oh, he was pissed. He was pissed. Anyway,
back to
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
Episode 4 coming out this Wednesday on Disney Plus.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it because they need to put everything into it.
I think they will. I mean, Lena's coming into it. I think they'll bump up the stakes.
Yeah, they got.
Maybe this is just kind of like a lull before the storm.
Maybe I'm hoping.
I mean, the last 3 episodes will just crush it.
Yeah.
Hopefully. All right, excellent. There it is, Hawkeye. Disney Plus from Marvel. That's our take on it. We'll see you again next Saturday or next Sunday for the episode 4 review. Larry will be here.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Again, if you have any questions or like to rant about a particular topic, please email us at engage@entertainmentrants.com. Find us on our website at entertainmentrants.com or all of our social media at Entertainment Rants. We'd love to hear from you. Please feel free to write us a review on Apple Podcasts as well. Larry, thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent. All right, everybody, get out there and keep ranting, everybody.